As the clock strikes 7, the vibes alive. Inner circles here where voices thrive. Turn on your screens, let the magic unfold. Listening and healing as stories are told. Come on, come on, this is your time. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. Inner Circle podcast where hearts unite. Sharing our truth, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Inner Circle podcast. Today is Wednesday, January 7th, and it's our first business and finance segment of the year. And tonight we are talking about if not now, then when, right? Business, money, and bold moves that you are trying to make this 2026. So happy New Year to you, Miss B. Happy New Year and welcome to the show.
Happy New Year's, everyone. It's your girl, Miss B, and it's Wednesday. So, minding the business that pays me is what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, folks, you can join our conversation tonight by putting a comment in the chat. Call our number 952-594-5154. Follow us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, X, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, right? Inner Circle Podcast, we are a growing community. We hope you can join us as we have these important discussions. Miss B, before we get into the topic for the night, it's business and finance, but our city again, or our state has been hit with another tragedy. Obviously,
Yeah.
we don't want to see that. I mean, to me, Minnesota has been in the news for all the wrong reason for far too long. And I think tomorrow we'll have a special just to this state. I've been here, I guess, all my life. Anytime something happened here, is like the way Minnesota has been portrayed, how various cities have been portrayed. It breaks my heart because I mean, it's like with the exception of Liberia, just a little bit, Minnesota has been part of my entire life, and so this place is dear to my heart. And today, a young lady lost her life since Thursday, I guess. I mean, whatever happens there, I don't want to get into the details, but we pray for she and her family. Any thoughts on that?
So, yeah, of course, the information hit directly to me because of the work that I do. Um, our organization, we call those folks as our observers.
Mm,
So, the organizations, they have a task for a collaborative, a joint effort, whatever you want to call it. And we have folks on the ground, that are volunteering. And then we're advocating and we're pushing for community being observers. And so this one really hit hard today. My boss left the office early to go and see how she can be of a resource and of a support to the um, the lady and her family, and just all those who are connected to what has happened here. The coordination um, has been hit. We things have to tighten up, but this is very unfortunate. This is not what we want. We don't want innocent, and this is not about being innocent or being guilty. We don't want community members caring about their neighbors. Basically, that's what it is. People out here really do care about their neighbors and are speaking up. You can see in a lot of viral videos. And then for this incident to happen today, right? And so, yeah, we're really thinking through this one. What can we do?
yeah. Well, our prayers are with the family, and I would just like to appeal, man, to everyone I know. We live in trying times. We live in chaotic times. The world we live in right now is a crazy world. I just like to appeal to everyone, observers. If you want to, do your observing, just be peaceful. Want to appeal to every Minnesotan, right? As I said, right, this place is the nicest state. I've traveled the U.S. There's nowhere like Minnesota. And when I say Minnesota nice, it's a true thing. It's a real thing. Minnesotans are nice people. I know right now is that we are in the news, as I said, for all the wrong reason. But I would just like to pray for our state. I like to pray for everyone, involved, right? The times we live in, I think personally, this too shall pass. These are the times we live in, no matter your political affiliation. I think we live in is like everybody want to turn against each other, and that's not right. That shouldn't be done. So I'd just like to appeal to everyone to just stay calm, be peaceful. Whatever you do, be peaceful, right? It's like don't try to uh cause anyone to trigger you or to trigger a situation that's not necessary in our state. This Minnesota has been through so much since the 2020 COVID, so I'm just personally appealing to everyone. We here, Cycle Podcast is appealing to everyone. Remain calm, be peaceful, and you can exercise your First Amendment right. That's the right every American has. Whoever lives in this country, that's the right we all have right to do that. But I would just like to appeal to people to do it peacefully.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about Minnesota being a great state to live in. We consistently, overall across the board, continue to be in the top five, top three states in the nation to live in, right? Overall. So, across having a good economy, quality of life, healthcare, and education, Minnesota is always going to be in those top numbers. And so I just feel like our state it's under attack in so many ways, right? And I feel like there's a lot of things have been leading up to this over the years, but even more so now, more than ever, we are under major attack as a state. And so, folks, if you love this state, you know what we stand for, you know what we represent, you know the true narrative. Be a part of that. Use your platform. You use your different mediums that you have access to be a part of promoting and sharing the positivity about Minnesota, the great things about this state, right?
Yeah, we have a 1 hour special tomorrow about Minnesota, right? Tomorrow, I just like to, hopefully you can join me tomorrow as well. Just to like do something because, as I said, right, when I hear all these negative, narrative of Minnesota, all this negative news, I know there's fraud, right? Whenever there's fraud, anything negative or whatever, when there's a crime, it should be dealt with, with the law. But so like just the whole state, making national news for all the wrong reason, like to me, as I said, it breaks my heart. I don't think that's who Minnesotans are. I don't think that's what Minnesota is, but so just want to, highlight, folks that live here. I love it. I cannot trade Minnesota. I know like when you travel, folks will say Minnesota is so cold. It snows over there. How come you've been living there all your life? I said, well, there's nowhere like Minnesota, right? It's the only state we have 4 seasons and we really enjoy it. And so like, when I say the true North Star, right, is our North Star is, nice people, nice place, great state, so many things to see, so many things to do. So I just hope everyone can, calm down and we can all be peaceful, can all live together as one people. So
And I'm going to
anyway,
be a little bit petty. When you Google fraudulent states, we're not one of them. So, we're nowhere near in the list. And so
okay.
I'm going to be petty, right? I don't want to list them, not to throw shade at any particular states, but they're down in the southern area and the West Coast area. So
Mm,
we're not
okay.
one of them. I say that to say because of my love of my state, I'm going to be a little bit petty.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you have every right to defend this great state, this northern state, so you have every right to do that, right? I mean, Minnesota has been your home, I guess all your life, so you have every right to do that, and as well as every Minnesotan has a right to defend this great state. I say I love it. I cannot trade Minnesota for nowhere in the 50
Nowhere.
states plus
Nowhere.
plus a couple of territories we have. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, that's that, folks. Stay peaceful. Whatever you do, protest peacefully, observe peacefully. I mean, you see folks carrying guns, stay away from them. I think maybe like trying to provoke or whatever. As I said, you were saying Minnesota is under attack. I feel that immigrants are under attack, right? Is as I said, I I am, it's like I'm not going to, hide away from my political affiliation. I'm a Republican. I support the party, but I think like the way the administration, every administration oversteps. That's how it is, right? Every administration seems to overstep. I don't understand the whole immigration nonsense between it's like to have 2,000 ICE agents in the streets, here in Minnesota is like really. I mean, it's like what's the violence so many? They carrying arms, carrying guns. It's not necessary. It's just, I mean, either it's trying to trigger people or whatever, So I'm just appealing, to folks, man. I know it happened in Chicago, it happened in LA. I'm just appealing to Minnesotans, right? Those are in Minneapolis, wherever. So just, I guess, I mean, if you are observing, man, observe peacefully, right? But I think whether they're trying to throw us a bit, the immigrant to, I don't think immigrants are already been vilified. It's up to us now to start telling our stories, the right way. But I think immigrants are under attack. That's just the truth.
Seriously, it's like you say 2000, it's probably a total of 4,000 at this rate, right? When it comes to, because it's like every time we hear more being deployed, they're coming like in groups of 2,000. They're like everywhere, honestly. I see it today, Rosedale, Walmart. Um, Yesterday they were at the Brooklyn Park area, Brooklyn Center. I think also yesterday at Falafel King eating. So they're in our restaurants, they're in our hotels. I think it was at an Apple Valley hotel. And I want to believe that staff member must be, connected to the immigrant community or is not in favor of ICE. And so they're acting outside of their own, volition. But, more power to them. I appreciate them saying, no, you're not going to stay at this Hampton Inn and Suites. You're not going to occupy hotels here. And so, they got reported to the Hilton brand, and, Hilton is claiming they're going to remove that particular location from among their consortium. But they're just like everywhere. Like there, you would, at first it was like, okay, maybe ICE is going to be here. Maybe ICE is going to be there. ICE is everywhere all day long. I'm just like, they're here in droves. And to an extent, it's unfortunate what happened today, but because of that, community has been out, been more vocal, more prevalent about, no, you're not going to take people, you're not detaining people. They've been stepping in because they are just everywhere. But this
Yeah.
is business
I say
segment.
it's like, it's like we are not the only state. I mean, I don't think we are the first. We won't be the last. As immigrants everywhere in this country right now are under attack. Whether it's a Republican state, Democratic state, the immigrants are just under attack. That's just the
Yeah.
fact, right? It's like when they arrest one person, it's a criminals. I guess it's like there's no more distinction, right? It's like how long will you be arresting criminal immigrants? Like how long? Is that all immigrants criminals? It's like it's nonsense. It's like I just feel I don't know. I said they're trying to throw us a bit, but as an immigrant, I'm just encouraging. I'll tell you like a Caucasian friend today, right? I said I don't want folks. At the end of the day, with something happening, going to blame me. Oh, the immigrants did it, right, and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
even those that are observing, man, is like don't try to do it, and at the end of the day, right, the blame come on us because I honestly I just feel we are on a talk. No matter where you're from, our Latino brothers, no matter where you're from as an immigrant, whether your skin color, it doesn't matter. We are all under attack because it's just I don't get it. I don't get it at all. So but anyway, that's that. It's 2026. While the war is burning, the war is going crazy. We still gotta, do business and finance. So tonight we are discussing, if not now, then when. Business, money, and bold moves is 2026. It's like Miss B, man. It's like especially in our community, man. Most people trying to wait for the perfect time. You've been in this space for a long time. Is there ever a right time to make a business move, make a finance move? It's like sometimes like we are all stuck, waiting for that perfect moment. Is there ever a perfect moment when you're trying to, maybe leave the corporate world like some of us want? Some of us who are stuck there.
Before I talk about adults making business moves, I want to kind of highlight, what's at the core of being able to be successful in your business is teams, right? Statistically, they talk about kids perform better academically, right, when they are part of a team, when they're a
Mm,
part of some sports, right? And ultimately, you're going to graduate, you have your degree, whether you're starting a company or you're working for a company, you
mm,
need to work with teams, right? And
mm,
so, coming from my daughter's school this evening and went to a meeting, I was in awe in how there was a bunch of Asian youth, Asian teenagers. I mean, the
Mhm,
whole gymnasium, just think about the size of a high school gymnasium, how big that
mhm,
is. And they were playing volleyball and they had multiple nets on the floor playing volleyball. But what was amazing, they were in their street clothes. So it looked like more like, oh, we have a bunch of these youths. It's that, that hangout hour of the day. Let's create a place for them to be able to go and hang out. And it's a bunch of Asian youth, right? So just think about how culturally that is beneficial, right? Where
mhm,
they're learning, bonding with each other, working in unity in with each other in a team sport right now. And
mhm,
just think how you're more likely to transition this to what? In them doing business together,
mhm,
and then further, closing the wealth gap for the Asian community, right?
mhm,
And
mhm,
walked away from that scene. In the same building, there's a room full of white males, intergenerational. I talked about it before how at any given time I can go to a restaurant and see white males gathered, intergenerational gathering happening and taking place.
mhm,
These are all intricate pieces to guarantee success for a specific cultural group or race of people. When you think about how it's so hard for us to be okay as Black people, as African immigrant people, for our kids to gather together. We have so many reasons why we don't want that happening.
mhm.
Whereas, what are some of the benefits of that happening, right? Um, when Sasha was in Girl Scouts, right, and mind you, her Girl Scout troop was predominantly white women, white girls, they're with their white mothers, and pretty affluent. Her troop, right, pretty
Mhm.
affluent folks. And again, taking us out of the equation, what way to continue to foster that togetherness, to continue to grow those cultural nuances and norms around team building, working with each other, and ultimately coming to do business with each other, grow successful businesses together, or work in these businesses as teams and make them successful, right? I think that is a huge missing component for us. The only time you see us in teams successfully are in athletic opportunities. That's the only time, and mind you, and from the NFL to the WNBA, to the NBA, what have you, African Americans, Black people dominate these team atmospheres, right? But outside of that, we don't dominate anything else that are team related, owning our businesses together, opening businesses together. And I think before we talk about if not now, when, we need to be figuring out how are we growing this new generation to come together in from the time when they're young, learning how to work together and be in that team atmosphere, and be learning each other, knowing how to get along with each other, working across all their differences, and having that unity to say, okay, we're going to now graduate, open these businesses together, be business partners, either work for each other or have our businesses that we can provide employment for our community.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up some good point and you dropped some great gems there, obviously. But yes, the thing, there are a couple of things to point out, right? Like the Asian example that you brought up. If you look at Asian businesses, you hardly see one owner. That is something that's already happening there. It's always partnership. The
Yep.
Asian, I think all of the Asian grocery stores that I know in Minnesota, it's never one person that owns it. It's
No.
either a group of friends, group of family or whatever.
Family. Yep.
Friends that come together and put those resources together, right? Even when you see how the Hmong, I mean, like Minnesota, when we talk about Asian, right, it's mainly dominated by the Hmong, right? It's like, the Hmong community, they are to, it's like all of their businesses, I think it's partnership. You would never see one Hmong person doing that, right? So all of the Asian grocery store, right, like we have, all the Asian businesses, I think it's all partnership. Now, if you see their kids, these Asian kids doing team sport or working together, doing something together, I think it derives from the way they are even carrying themselves right now in business and in life, you
Yep.
know, versus when you come to our community, everyone want to be in silos. Everyone want to do it solo. And I know, yeah, it's like, if not now, then when, right? Is that even that discussion is like, because you can have all of these great ideas. You might not have the finances. You might not have the network, right? You
Yeah.
might not have, you have you might be the workaholic, or you might be the person who really does the work, but you might not have the perfect credit, but you can actually do the work, to make it happen. But we don't, for some reason, black people, African immigrants, we just don't like to work together, right? It's weird, especially like, and I see that a lot among West Africans. I mean, the East Africans, maybe, I think a little bit so, because I mean, even all of the commotion that's going on with them, is like, I mean, the kind of stuff they are caught up in right now. But it's like, for us though, we just don't do it. We just do not do it. And then that's the reason you don't find success. You don't see us represented in places. You don't see us dominating any kind of a field, because we are not forcing ourselves to do it. And I think if there's anything in 2026, right, as we move forward in this world, these are some of the things we need to force ourselves to do these things, right? Someone needs to take the initiative, but no one does it. And even when the person take the initiative, it's like, oh man, go sit down, man. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, no one wants to work with you. We don't trust you and all this stuff. It's like, it's sad.
And so this is the time that, if nothing else, we are seeing is that we, when we are attacked, we're not attacked as all human beings or all citizens, right? It happens in nodes. It happens to a certain group of folks, be it, cultural, religion, sex, gender, race. It's never everybody at the same time. And so when we think about the importance of being able to be solid in whatever it is that you're doing, and foremost in a business, is about being united. We have to be united. So if any business, what I want to push somebody to do, first thing, if you're thinking about leaving your 9 to 5, and most people you're going to find that are making these transitions is someone in their mid 40s to 50s, right? This is that time they're thinking about. Statistically, they're showing most women age 45, tend to leave corporate and go do something on their own, right? If you are one of these women who are thinking about making that move, I trust and believe that the most successful way to do that is not by yourself.
Mm.
Tell your fellow colleagues what you're thinking about doing. I'm sure right there in your workspace, you will find, if they're not ready to join you, at least they will be able to support you, right?
Mm.
Those will be your potential clients, right? And whatever it is
Mm.
that you're trying to leave to do, because this is the thing, the department is going to be missing out on your talent. And when corporations are missing out on your talent, the first place they're going to go to fill that space is consulting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now that you're exiting, right, and you're leaving Abraham there, maybe Abraham is now the person say, hey, well, Denise left, but we can always contract her. Like, I know nowadays more than ever, when people are leaving one organization, their other organizations are already trying to say, hey, we're gonna miss your talent here in this ecosystem. We don't want to lose it. There's a contract for you at our organization, because oftentimes people are leaving now because they want to control their time. They want to have more time to do other things. They want that flexibility, right? And they're saying, you know what, 5 good contracts will equate to my salary. That's the first thing they're going to do, is try to replace their salary before do anything else. And that may be as far as they go, just replacing their salary. So I'm saying, if you are that person and you are stuck and you don't know what's your next step, and you're thinking about your next step being to go and start your own business, your own firm, whatever it is, don't do it alone. Start telling the people that's right next to you in your cubicle, your desk area, your work, your department. And then from there, start telling your family what you're thinking about doing. Think about doing this with other people and not by yourself.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a good one. I think, right? I mean, if I hear you, what you are pushing tonight, is like those that I want to make moves, right? It's like those that want to make move now, those that are thinking about making moves, right? We are stuck. It's like, it's a gosh, I can't make a move right now because I don't have I'm afraid to leave my corporate job, because the one thing about corporate jobs in this country, or any job in this country, is about security, right? Your job provides you security, insurance, health insurance, life insurance, a regular stable paycheck that you can pay your bills. And then now you decide to go. You say, well, I want to leave out of that. I want to leave the security, the safety of my job to what? To branch out on my own and do it by myself. What I hear you saying tonight, you know what? I, the fear in us, well, the whole the fear that's in that. Don't do it by yourself. Maybe like get others involved, right? To make that move. Maybe the reason why you are stuck because you're trying to figure out all of these things by yourself. You're trying to make it happen by yourself. Other people might, if you bring one or two partners on board, they might say, you know what, we can actually do this thing. We can actually do this thing. I mean, they might tell you, like, I have been thinking the same thing. I have been thinking the same thing, and you guys don't have to jump in 6 feet right away. You can probably, get it off the ground, register whatever ideas you have, you know, try to see how best you can, pull some resources together and hit the ground running. So that's what I hear you saying tonight, right? Is that maybe the reason why you are stuck because you're trying to do it by yourself. But in order to regularly make that move, that bold move, right, that money move, you gotta what? Maybe get others involved and bring partners on board, which is something we are lacking greatly in our community. I think that's what holding us from building wealth, right?
Yeah.
Is like that's the main thing that's holding us from building wealth because if three of us walk into a bank, we might all not be perfect, right? The bank might say, I'm not going to approve you, I'm not going to approve you, but I might approve this person. If the person willing to put his or her neck on the line for you guys, let's roll with it. You know what I mean? So maybe these are the things that's holding us back.
So, and what you will hear from, I think, maybe it was Steve Jobs or Jeff Bezos, one of them said, the best thing I ever did was create the team that I have. I think it was Steve Jobs, right? And so I say that to say every like major corporation, every billionaire, if you sit down and have a conversation with them, they will talk about team, 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 right? They all have the people they started from Facebook to Apple to Microsoft to Amazon. They all have the people they started this business with. I know we only think about them because at this point they have become the brand of these entities that they started, but none of them, again, none of these people I've talked about will tell you they started these companies by themselves. There's always a team, even if it was their wife and kids. There was always a team because just think about it. Your rule of thumb should be this: every business has five major departments. Every business has five major departments. So let's tell yourself, if I'm going to start off well, I'm going to find five people to start my business with, right? A board, they'll tell you a board constitutes of a minimum of three people is qualified for a board. So when you are applying to do a nonprofit in the state of Minnesota, the first thing they're going to require you is like, what's your board, right? If anybody wants to give you any real money from any major foundation, they're going to want to know your board, the makeup of your board, how many people your board. So, and again, the board size has a minimum of three. It can be 22, 26, however many people. But so just think about that three and that five. But I would push to be five to be your number. If you can't find five people to start a business with, you're already in trouble. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Hmm.
You can't find five people to start a business with. You are already setting yourself up for failure.
Hmm. Well, I guess, folks, tonight we are discussing if not now, then when, and then Miss B is bringing a whole nother layer, a whole nother angle to it. It's like, you know what? While you are thinking about if not now, then when, right? While you are thinking about making that moves right now, right? Don't do it. Don't do it by yourself. Get others involved. You have friends. You have families. Someone might have a great idea. You're, on top of your idea, and there's so much need in our community. In this, first of all, I was telling someone today, I think either today or yesterday or something, right? We live in the greatest country in the world. Despite everything that's going on, right? It's the richest country in the world. There's so much opportunity, there's so much money to be made in this country. Despite everything hearing about AI, I think the technology, the AI, everything, I think it's bringing more opportunity for business. If you want to
Yes,
be a business owner, if you want to be someone who want to become an entrepreneur to make that move, I think technology is just bringing more opportunity for people. You know what I mean? For the brave, right? For those who want to take that next step. But the key is what I hear Ms. B saying tonight, what she's advocating for. Don't do it by yourself. You might get stuck. And sometimes what discourages us, right, is that establishing a small business by itself is already tough, right? Sometimes I mean the failure rate is high, you know. And then when you do it by yourself, right? Because most black businesses like are like a solo business LLCs, right? It's like one
Yeah,
person doing it. So the failure rate in our community is so high. But then when you bring partners on board, when you bring, when you spread that responsibility, spread that wealth. Because I think one of the things, especially in the Liberian immigrant community, we are afraid of spreading wealth. We only want it for ourselves, right? We don't want to, if I'm successful, I don't want Miss B to be successful. I only want to be the one driving my Range Rover or living in a nice house or making all that money. I don't want her to be part of it. I don't even want to. As I told someone the last time, when a Liberian person share an idea with you, is like they think that they are sharing something God or Jesus Christ have told them. That's what they're trying to share with you, right? It's hard for us to share ideas with one another because the fear is we might lose out, right? Like someone might take our place and things like that. So and so disheartening, right? Is that we need to start trusting one another to create those partnerships and to move forward.
exactly. Like, and again, you don't have to start from scratch. Google is your friend. You can just like Google best business moves to make in 2026. Then you'll say, thinking of starting a business in 2026, you'll get focused on these four type of business. I think like Abraham talked about, it says leveraging AI, I've been bought. I was hesitant about the whole AI thing, and now I'm so sold on AI. But AI is not new. AI, the word we're hearing, I mean, the terminology and the language is new as far as it's outwardly publicized. Before, I think they were hiding it, different things. AI has been here for a long time. Your maps, your Google Maps, your GPS, I call her Susie. Susie is AI. Think about Google Home, your security system, anything that's talking to you, understanding you, relating back to you that is involving technology outside of you, that's been AI. I just think now, because it has been normalized, we can talk about it in a way that's good, so the community has been waiting for that right time to offload it, and everybody's talking about it, so it's looking like this new boom or whatever. But anyways, so in 2026, want you to, if you're going to be opening a business, start out well, leveraging AI. If you're already in business, be leveraging AI. Should be focusing on sustainability, right? Digital health is very, very important. We talked about marketing, some episodes ago, and digital platforms and so on and so forth. So it's like, again, you don't have to start from the scratch. You don't have to start with lack of information. You want to be able to start off well, and there's so much information out here to help you. So this is now is the time. I know Abraham asked me, is it a good time? Now is the time. I think any time is a good time. No matter what type of economy we're having, people are starting businesses.
Yeah, and then I mean, what like some of the common mistakes, right? People like to excuses we all like to give. I mean, as I said, like the one fearful thing in America sometimes, like a lot of us, especially in our community, we are afraid of failure, right? No one wants to. If you have a family to feed, you have young kids, as some of us here, you have so much responsibility, you have your mortgage, you are just afraid to take that leap. But sometimes, man, you have to fall hard. I mean, Elon Musk was one homeless. Sometimes you have to, in order to break yourself out of, because like sometimes the painful part is, right, living your whole life making someone else's rich,
Yeah.
or making like your whole ideas die with you. Actually, right, you have this great idea, right? You have a great work ethic, but because you own someone else's clock, what I mean, sometimes you're not even, you just go do the bare minimum. And the thing I have fun when you are doing it for yourself, the effort that you put into it, it's more than the effort you put in, the way you pour yourself into it, right? It's more than what you pour for other people. It's hard. I mean, anyone in the corporate world will tell you. When you're
Yeah.
doing it for yourself, it's way different than when you just go in 9 to 5 or whatever your schedule is, right? It's like you just want to what? Go in there, clock in, clock out. The day is over, you come, just your life. And somebody wonder what? Is this it? But when you are doing it for yourself, though, it's a whole different ballgame. The energy level is different. The creativity level is different. The innovative level is different. It's different on every level.
And this is another thing. It's so A lot of people, they don't have a team because, oh, I don't want to work with nobody. People are this and people are that. Like, you don't want to have a team because you don't want to deal with different personalities. How are you dealing with customers?
Or how you dealing with your coworkers on your job or something?
And yeah, but I mean, you leave the job because you don't want to work for people, you want to work for yourself, right? But that's the reality is and then you say, oh, I'm not going to do a team. I'm going to do this all by myself. But again, you realize when you were at that company was big and making money because you weren't the only one there. Like you
Mhm,
said,
mhm.
you had coworkers for a reason. I don't know why these common sense things or thoughts and ideas don't come back to people when they want to go start that business, right? Like, you were not the only one in that company. That
You were
company had
just a you were
various
just a
departments.
you were just a number, and they could eliminate you or get rid of you anytime, right?
That
It's
part,
like, yeah. Mhm.
right? And in order to do your work, you have to have that team mentality. You have to work with other people. You couldn't complete projects by yourself. You couldn't. That's why when you go to go do a project, anytime you launch a project, you have a project manager and you have their team. And in that team, they're going to have people from various departments doing different things. I'm going to need somebody from marketing. I'm going to need somebody from, distribution. I'm going to need somebody from HR. I'm going to create a team for this project, right? We'll come together. I'm going to lead this project, and then I'm going to lead this team, and we're going to execute this project. Maybe we will disperse, or maybe we'll get another project to do. But the thing I'm trying to say here is you're doing it with other people. So the idea that you want to go and start a business all by yourself and don't want to create a team is like, I am baffled by that. And
Yeah.
you'll say, oh, people's personality and people don't listen and da, da, da. How were you operating in the job? What were the things, the skills, the interpersonal relationships, interpersonal skills you were bringing to the job to work successfully with your team? You need to bring that same thought process because you're not going to grow the business beyond you without bringing in a team. And when
Yeah.
you don't learn how to manage people, you will not be able to manage the growth of your company. No matter how successful it is, you're going to have to hire people.
Yeah.
You're going to have to, when you hire those people, they weren't there. They don't have the vision. They don't understand the mission and the vision. They have to learn it, right? And so you're going to
Mhm.
have to be able to manage them in their different personality skills. So the sooner you are become okay with hiring other people or bringing people along with you, the better. And then when you realize, oh, you've grown this team, now the risk is you could lose the team. So you got to figure out retention. How are you keeping people? And I think another missed opportunities for us is salons, salon owners. You bring people, they're renting chairs from you, and that's all you see them as is somebody renting a chair for you. There should be a time frame within 2 years. If somebody has been in your salon renting a chair within 2 years, you need to be creating opportunity for them to become a partner,
Yeah.
or else you're only creating competition for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. They need to have a skin in a game, right? Making them to have a skin in a game. Because once someone have a skin in a game, and say, "Oh, we are all in this together," right? It's a partnership. We own this. If I don't take it seriously, we're gonna fail, right? So I agree with you. I mean, partnership is very, very important. As I said, all of the great businesses, Warren Buffett, who just retired, I mean, he did it with his good old friend. It's like partnership is very important, right? You don't find that. But it's 2026, man, right? It's like, a lot of folks, I know it's New Year. We are setting resolutions. Peterson and I talked about resolution here yesterday. People are setting resolution. But as you maybe set your New Year resolution when it comes to your business and finance, especially when it comes to business, right? Because the only thing that's going to create wealth for you, I can guarantee your 9 to 5 job is not going to make you rich, folks. It's not, it's not, it will just I know you might probably have your 401k or your retirement, but your 9 to 5, whatever, whatever your schedule is, not going to make you a millionaire. It's not going to make you to build generational wealth. You know, I think the key to building generation, and we're not only talking about something when we talk about success, financial success. I think I have said it many times. The difference between us and other people, they think about generational wealth. And the only thing that creates generational wealth is building asset, building businesses, right? Those are the only things that's going to create generational wealth. And I think, to Miss B point tonight, when if you're afraid to make that move by yourself, bring in partners. People will say, "Oh yeah, I need more. I need more. Oh, no, we need more money." No, partners, as I said, it's like three of us, right? If I have three guys that we have established something, right? I might not have the good credit. Maybe the person B might not have the good credit, but maybe one person that have maybe 650 or 700 will go to the bank and say, "You know what? I will take we'll take the person credit, as I said before, and give you guys a shot." Or even, right, it's like maybe a couple of you might have little sitting around, put it together, start with that, and see how it goes, right? And don't say, "Oh yeah, we need money first. We need more information." We need it when things calm down. I need it when my kid finish, when my kids are done with high school or college. Right now the economy is not good. Right now, like there's immigration crackdown. I don't know if I'm gonna get deported or whatever. Whatever is like. Don't wait. Stop giving those excuses. 2026, I think is going to make that move. And Miss B point tonight is like, don't make it by yourself. Get others involved and hit the ground running.
Yeah, I mean, again, like you just spoke of my boy Warren. I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like me and that man have a relationship. He doesn't know about it, but I'm sure enjoying whatever benefits of this relationship that's only on my end. But yeah, kudos to Warren Buffett. 60 years building that entity, and he's not slowing down. He's just retiring as the CEO, but he's staying on as the board chair. I mean, 95.
Yeah.
And this man
He-
does not walk with a limp. He's not hunk over and still eats burgers. So I don't know what he's doing. He needs to give us a secret of how he stays so sharp at 95 years old. Yeah. But we all hope to aspire, or we all hope to become the next Warren Buffett, or aspire to be Warren Buffett. But Warren Buffett is not Berkshire Hathaway, right? I say that to say he did it with people. He did it along with people, and that company is now worth $300 billion. It didn't happen overnight. The company is older than me, older than us, of course, older than a lot of people.
Mhm.
60 years old. He spent there 60 years growing that company. But again, he didn't do it alone. Even from day one, he didn't do it alone. You think about how much effort we put into marriages, right? How much effort we put into raising great kids, how much effort we put into having a great marriage, or whatever relationship that we're in, and we don't do it by ourselves. So again, we're not in a marriage by ourselves. We're not in, parenting by ourselves. We're not in a relationship with our children by ourselves. The kids are in this relationship and we're in the relationship as well. Again, no man is an island. Nobody out here is doing anything by themselves. Why do you want to set yourself up for failure by doing a business by yourself, right? And so I challenge you this year, if you're going to start a business, like I said, think about your fabulous five departments, right? You have customer service, you have your HR, you have your administration, your operations. So somebody who can be your operations manager, right? And then you have your CEO, your chief executive officer, and then you have your CFO, right? So who's going to be doing the accounting? Who's going to be doing your hiring? Who's going to be building the business? And that's really what the CEO is. You're not working in the business, you're building the business, right? All right. And your operations manager, that's the person who's overseeing the day-to-day operations of the business, right?
Yeah.
So that is why these five different people are important. These five different roles. They start out as roles, and each role grows into a department, and those things become departments based on the capacity of those roles growing. That's ultimately how you end up with a Fortune 500 corporation.
Yeah. Well, folks, tonight we are discussing if not now, then when, over angle Miss B is bringing here, right? If you want to make that move, don't do it by yourself. Maybe get partners involved, get others involved. So business and money moves for 2026 as we get out of 2025. 2025 is like, I feel like, especially immigrants, we're in survival mode. Peterson and I talked about this last night. It's like we're in survival mode. Seems that we're stuck. This year is when, man, we got to, despite everything that's going on, despite the intense immigration crackdown, despite all the negativity, this is the time that we need to, make those bold money moves, make those bold business moves. And I think a bold business move Miss B is talking about is do it with others. We've been
Yeah.
doing it for ourselves for so long. do it with others. It might be risky, but man, you know what? There's no business that's not risk. That's risk free, right? No business. Anything you do in life as a whole, the life we're living today, like, it's risk. You might go out there, thinking about, you never know what might happen. Life as a whole is risk, right? So it's
Yeah.
never risk free. So in our community, we used to doing it by ourselves because we don't want to take the risks of working with other people. But the bold move Miss B is talking about tonight, get others involved, man. It's risk, but guess what? It might just turn out to be your 2026 lucky charm, to be your 2026 break, right? Is that you might hit it out of the park. I'm not saying it's gonna be all gravy. Working with other people is not all gravy. It's not all rose garden stuff, right? You will encounter some problem, but man, I think you should make that bold move, right? Bring in partners. Don't sit on the sideline and wait for that perfect moment. The time is now.
Especially when you're trying to access capital. You have a new business, you're taking more risk taking a loan. Find other people who want to take the risk with you and bring
Yeah.
their capital along with you, right?
Hmm.
Start
Hmm.
looking for investors early, because the idea when you're looking for investors, you have accountability, and
Yeah.
your partners are the first people who are going to give you that accountability, right?
Hmm.
You all have equity and skin in the game through your money that you're putting in the pot, right? So just think about it. If I'm trying to start my business, and on average 50,000 is a good start. Not a lot, but it's a good start.
Mm.
That's 5 people bringing 10 grand.
Mm.
And 10 grand can easily come out of a 401k,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
mind you, that's when you want to dip into that 401k. You can, you know, Abraham here likes to gamble on the stock market. So just think you're gambling on yourself, right? And you're buying $10,000 worth of stocks in your business. Just look at it that way,
Yeah.
right? You're already selling shares, right? And you're bringing in these investors, and they're bringing in the capital, and they're bringing the intellectual property as well. So that's why it's like, look for your fabulous five, right? I have a friend that has a PhD in HR. I have another friend that has a bachelor's in education. What is this?
Teach
Teach me,
teach
B.
Miss
I was
teach
just
Miss
all
B
5 years
teach
left in me.
Miss B. Yeah,
Go.
yeah. Teach Miss B so the comment here, teach Miss B, yeah, it is like you are teaching well tonight. The Bible say, oh, who have ears, let them hear. Okay. So
Yeah,
yeah,
like seriously, like I have a friend who, again, my friend has a PhD. She's a doctor, has doctor degree in HR. I have a friend who's a lawyer. So there goes my business lawyer. I have a friend who has a CPA, right? Right. I have a friend who is a vice president of operations at her job, right?
hmm,
And so I have a friend who has a master's in public health and works for the state, right? So I'm thinking about all these people. I have a friend who has an arts degree in interior decorating, right? She's great with food and the culinary arts and all those things, right? So when I decide I'm going to start an investment group, I'm bringing all of these people together with me to do it, because even if it's an investment group and we all know we have money to invest in a business, even if we're buying a business that's already successful, we still want to be able to how to manage that investment portfolio, right?
yeah,
You're still going to need to have the wherewithal to manage the investment portfolio. And these people will be able to look at the different points of this business and say, my HR person can say, you know what, they have great expertise and talent at this company. It's a successful company on that note. My CPA is going to come and they're going to look through the numbers, make sure their financials, their projections, everything are making sense. They've been in the black for the last how many years, and all those different things, right? That's where that person's going to be. And then we have all these people come together. We've purchased this business now, and it's okay, this is the first investment in that portfolio. Now we're going to go purchase the second business. We can sit back and say, okay, this is what we need. Things are working. I'm not look at That's a lot to think about all by myself.
yeah.
Who wants that stress? Mind you, I left my job because it has some stress to it already, right? So now I
Mhm.
want to go stress myself. Starting a business is even more stressful than the job that you left. Trust and
Yeah.
believe, because at least that job you had help.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing that you brought right is so interesting to me, right, is the whole like putting capital together. I mean, I was just reading an article just this week, right? Elon Musk, his AI startup called Grok, he raised $20 billion, right, for his AI startup, right? It's like for his AI company,
Ridiculous.
$20 billion in funding round, $20 billion. And I'm sitting here, is like, what it is about our community that, when we say, dude, let's put resources together and do something, we all like, because when you talk about venture capitals, right, it's like, these are different people putting money together and say, you know what, Miss B, I believe in your company, and we're gonna give you XYZ. We want to have a skin in that game. You don't see that in our community, and that's why I said that's the reason we're not building generational wealth. That's the reason, the chat GPT we're all using today. Right now, chat GPT is raising, like enormous amount of money on the private market. They are now a publicly traded company right now. They are OpenAI is a privately held company. They are thinking about going public this year, but they are raising enormous amount of money in
Yep.
the private market.
Yep.
And guess who they are raising it from? From their peers, from their
Their
friends, from
peers,
people,
their other wealthy people.
say, hey man, we believe in you, right? We believe in his vision, we believe in his AI vision that you're trying to do, right? Is that AI is the future, and they are what, putting enormous amount of money in there, right? Once that company go public, they all going to what, reap their, what I mean, their benefit and things like that. Right? I mean, their return on investment. We don't do that in our community. To your point, what, you bring 10,000, this person bring 10,000. It is so powerful than me taking my own 10,000 out and say I want to do it by myself.
Yep.
He said, like you said earlier, it takes 50,000 at least minimum as a startup to say
Yeah.
five people to bring 10,000. You know, it's easy, but you just go to one Liberian or one West African and say, let's do that. Whoa, the must think
Just imagine another 10, another five, and you're at 100 grand.
100 grand right there.
Yeah.
You know,
You
you don't
guys
even
are
need to
looking
battle.
at down
You don't
payment for
even need to
some kind
battle.
of commercial property.
You don't even need to battle with the bank. The problem
Nope.
is, we all just is that we want to take on debt. Debt financing is expensive.
Yep.
It, you will hardly see, except when a business is really, really successful, that they go with idea of debt financing because they know they have enough cash flow that whenever they go to the bank and the bank finance them, or the bank even wonder what, the bank now start coming to them, hey, I will give you guys money because God, you guys have, I mean, you guys have good cash flow. So anytime you want it, right, we have a credit line for you. We have XYZ for you. Here you go, right? The bank now is going to build that relationship with you. But in our community, more often, the first thing we want to do is to run to the bank to take on
Yeah.
debt. And
No.
that's what hinder us because sometimes like, you don't even have the capital, you don't have enough cash flow. So you struggle to even pay that loan back, you know?
And the likelihood of they're getting the loan is very slim. They're
Yeah.
borrowing, they're borrowing $25,000 with 7% interest rate. When you could have went and got, yeah, you could have went and got $25,000 right from your community or your neighbors
Hmm.
with zero interest rate. So
Hmm.
just do that math, people. Sometimes you feel so excited, you took some money, and oftentimes you're probably taking 75K from a 401k. If you're somebody who's really been good in the work field, you took 75K of your own money and went and got 25K with 7% interest from a bank. And now you think, oh yeah, I have $100,000 to start a business. And you mind you, right away you have to start paying that money back.
No, you
Whereas,
have to. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Whereas if you have partners, you have an understanding, say, hey, you know what? This needs to be patient capital. We're not going to see a return on this investment probably for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Somebody can patiently wait on $10,000 to materialize. The
Yeah.
bank is not patiently waiting for $25,000 to materialize. They
Hell
want
no.
their money the next
Nah.
month.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Yeah.
every month. And it better not be late because they're not only coming to recapture that 25 grand, they're coming to capture that and you.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so just to let people know, when Jeff Bezos was looking at facing bankruptcy, he fundraised $4.5 million, again, not from a bank, within his network. I think his parents were one of the first biggest investors. which now they have shares worth like what, billions and billions, 70. And they had sold some of their shares. If they hadn't sold all their shares, they would have even more. I think they got like $77 billion in Amazon shares. And they would have had even more if they hadn't sold some of their shares. But yeah, he raised $4.5 million at facing the brink of bankruptcy from his network. So you guys can find 5 friends that have 10 grand that you guys can come together. And I wouldn't, for me, I wouldn't raise that $50,000 to necessarily start from scratch. Go buy a franchise. Buy something that's already going to be making money, that already has cash flow showing up. Better and quicker return on your investment than going to start something where you have to do everything from scratch day one. If it's the product, you got to create the product. If it's the service, you have to start figuring out how to sell the service. No, go buy something, go buy a franchise for $50,000. Take $50,000 and go buy property with it together, right? Buy property that already has tenants in it. There are already tenants in there and they're paying the rent. Shout out to my girl, Brianne Kennedy. Congratulations. She just bought her a building. She and her partner, another female partner of hers, and they bought a building. I believe it's out in either Eden Prairie, Richfield, somewhere. I think it's Richfield. They bought a nice building that they're going to be turning into a co-working space, right? Co-working spaces are making money. There's Coven. They're doing a franchise. Go and find out how much that franchise is. Go find a building, turn that into a co-working space. So co-working space is where people come and pay membership. Subscriptions are making money. If you can create some kind of subscription type business, that's an easy return on your investment, right? And
Mhm.
subscriptions can be anything. Subscription can be you're picking up people's clothes and taking it to the cleaners for them. Subscription can be you are taking people's clothes and you're folding it for them, right? Like again, franchise. It could be an urban air franchise, a sky zone franchise. And oftentimes the franchise will do a lot of that work for you. They'll help you find the location. Some of them will even help you find the financing. So if you get a group of your friends together and you guys are raising fifty to $100,000, don't start a business from scratch. Buy an existing business, invest in an existing business or business model that you know is already going to be lucrative from day one. You're going to start seeing a return on your investment.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a great one. That's a good one. Well, folks, man, tonight we have been discussing, if not now, then went over a
Yes.
whole, great angle, from Miss B, getting others involved, not doing it by yourself. And then that's a bold money moves right there, man. That's a bold money moves. That's a generational wealth move right there. So I think you should go for it. It's a 1 hour show. We've been here almost an hour now and stuff like that. So going to try to wrap it up here, man. But that's what we are here for every Wednesday. There's the first business and finance show of the year 2026. And Miss B been dropping some great gems for you guys tonight, encouraging you guys, don't do it by yourself, don't go solo. The whole idea about, debt financing, I think is what killing us, right? Debt financing. And the reason why we run to debt financing so much because we don't want to bring other people on board. We want
Yeah.
to run to the bank for the bank to give us the loan, but if we can just start by ourselves, we're collecting these, bringing partners, bringing investors, and say, hey man, bring this. Let's put it together and do it. Buy a franchise, buy a business. If you want to, the whole idea to me is starting from scratch. Right? A lot of great ideas out there. If you even want to start from scratch and you know the business can get off the ground, you guys are willing to put in the work, go for it. Sometimes, yeah, you know what I mean? Go for it and sort of get, and you guys hit the ground running because, man, the time is now because like some of us are getting all in this thing, right? In the corporate, other people crack. So the time is now. You got to make that move. And we are really, really appealing to our community. We need to get away from it's like Miss B have talked about it. There's so many Kobo shops. She call them restaurant, but I call them Kobo shops. So many Kobo shops in our community. You come together and open one unique Liberian restaurant because I know how good Liberian food is. One unique, like when someone coming to Minnesota, let them come to a nice Liberian restaurant, one unique Liberian restaurant. But it's like nobody want to do it. Everybody want to have their own Kobo shop because I can cook, I can do this, right? It's like, man, but we need to get away from that mindset. So I think that's what Miss B is advocating for tonight. I think a bold business move, when you're thinking about making that leap, taking that leap, because the time is now, right? You don't have to wait for when or perfect time. Time is now. Bring others on board, right? And do that.
Yeah. You know, he talks about the Kobo shop because it's ambiance. He goes in there and it's not modernized, they're not up to date.
Kobo shop.
They look like dive, you know, hole in the wall type places. And that is why he's referring to it as a Kobo shop. Whereas when you have been able to get the location, move into an older establishment, you next thing you want to do to scale your business is provide an experience. And ambiance is the number one reason for an experience, right? If I can go into a place and it can be culturally pleasing, you know, as far as I feel like I'm in China, but I'm not in China. But when I enter into this space, the way it makes me to feel is like I've taken a vacation somewhere just for the brief time that I'm sitting in there and eating, right? Our African restaurants, besides having the menu, there's nothing in them that even takes you back to Africa, to be honest.
Auto
None of
like
them put
yeah.
any
Yeah.
effort into creating that African ambiance in there. No, to
Mm.
be honest. And so that's what he's talking about. So if you guys are paying attention, renovate, please. Renovations. When you're asking for money, you're asking for grants, don't pocket it. Please invest back in your business. Do the renovations. Go and seek somebody who knows how to do restaurant modeling. You are not the one who's cooking in the kitchen, should be modeling that restaurant.
Okay.
You should not
Yeah.
be picking the colors, the tables, the chairs. None of that you should be doing because you probably don't have anything about any idea how to design or model a restaurant. You know I don't. Right. I
Yeah.
may have money to open a business, to buy a business, but I don't know how to lay it out. So go and find somebody who does. And again, I can end on that note. That's technical assistance that we can provide for free.
Okay, there you go. ASA can provide you technical assistance, right, to scale your business, to do whatever you lays that you want to do with your business. So, folks, man, as I said, it's a 1 hour show, and we have been as Miss B as a whole. For me, I just be here listening, learning, doing my little thing, But she's be dropping some great business gems, folks. So tonight, and I like the angle she brought, right? I think step into 2026, let us leave me, myself, and I behind, right? Let us come into the we mindset, the us mindset,
Mm.
is like, togetherness mindset. Let us do that this 2026. Let us leave ourselves behind, man. Let us do it together this 2026. And you might never, then we'll start owning stuff in here. We'll start owning stuff, right? We'll start building stuff and things like that. So thank you so much for joining us tonight, folks. Miss B, any last word?
No, thanks everyone. I think next week what we should do, Abe, is talk more about shared ownership and community ownership.
Okay, yeah, let's do
Key
that. Let's do that.
mindset for this for our business segments this year.
Okay, okay. You see, she's really into it, right? She want to lean into this in 2026. The woman just says like last year we talked about creating an inner cycle investment forum. So that's why she's driving that. This year we need to do that, right? So yeah. So next week Wednesday show is going to be share ownership. So folks, we hope you can tune in next week Wednesday, but also tune in tomorrow, man, as we talk about Minnesota. I love this state so much, and there's so much going on. Right? I love Minnesota so much. There's no place like home. That is my home. I love this place and nowhere like it. So, but thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Good night.
Together
Night,
as
everyone.
one, we've created a home with laughter and love. We break